How's it going? My name is Brent from Encore. Here we have a Honda Accord 2023 Sport Hybrid. Let's go ahead and put some paint protection on the front of this. We're going to be cutting everything out with core, and so we're going to do a kit install today, and let's get started. All right, so what we do here with these when they've had a license plate installed is we're going to go ahead and trim off these parts that are sticking out with a blade here, just to smooth them out so that when we're installing the paint protection film, it lays on there real smooth. So we're just going to shave these off. I think it's pretty obvious you want to be real careful not to hit the rest of the paint and damage it. All right, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and start and line this line up here. You can see that this kind of hangs over some of these edges a little bit, so let's go ahead and make sure that they're not going past the edges. All right, and then we'll go ahead and take the material this way. First, we'll start by tacking. We've got our first tack point there. All right, so now we've got our tack point. Let's go ahead and line this up and stretch this out to the wheel well. Looks like this is going to wrap a little bit over this edge all the way back. So we've got a little wrap here, and then it kind of goes away for this part. All right. Now that we've got the top tacked down, let's go ahead and check out this bottom. Make sure we're lined up real good. This is going to need to come... let's check this part too, right here. Okay. Okay, great. And then let's get rid of these fingers. It looks like we need to come down a little bit more and probably back just a little bit. Okay. And then make sure we're lined up on that bottom edge. Come back this way just a little and we'll tack this part. Alright, then we'll squeegee all this out. Got a little pre-tacking going on here, so we'll go ahead and pull this back a little bit. Alright, let's get all this back down.
Get it.
All right, let's go ahead, and while we're here, let's just get rid of the big finger here. not going to take it completely over that edge and wrap it in yet. We'll come back to that, but we'll just get it off the very front of the bumper there. All right, let's get some slip solution under this. And then we'll go ahead and stretch. Now let's get all this untacked. All right. We're gonna go ahead and stretch out these fingers here and get all this lined up. Okay, make sure we've got good coverage lining up on this edge. And then we're also going to want good coverage over this top. All right, that's looking pretty good. Go ahead and tack this part. Okay, let's go ahead and lay this part down, and we want to make sure that this top edge is not going over. Otherwise, we're going to have to trim. Okay. All right, so we're going to bring all that stuff this way, and then we're not going to keep it going this way into the stuff that we've already tacked down. We'll just go ahead and take this part up and then this part down. And then we need to get all the water out of this part that rounds down in. All right, we'll go ahead and get this part stuck down around the corner here. Again, we'll pull this back, get a little bit of slip underneath there, make sure we're not pre-tacking. I mean, if you're not having issues with the film pre-tacking, you probably have too much soap in there. You know, and keeping your soap solution as light as possible is what allows me to stretch that into place and then let go of it, and I don't have to worry about it really moving around on me. And that's incredibly helpful during the install. It really helps speed things up so you're not having to use the tack solution all the time just for positioning. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and pull this back right here. You know, we had some areas that looked like they were a little bit stuck from my handprints. All right, we'll get this whole top stuck down. All right, and then we're gonna go ahead and go to here again, and then we'll go to back there. So I'm gonna put that in place, just kind of hold it with my hand, and then we'll squeegee out the stuff above it and down to it. And then we'll go ahead and stretch back into that spot, making sure that we're lined up real good on the bottom. All right, then we'll get all the rest of this out. Go ahead and get some tack solution on these edges. All right, let's start getting these edges down. Okay. What'd you say?
I was totally mistaken. The hood is on the 16th.
Ooh, what's that?
Oh,
Oh, that's not okay. Wow. That's pulling right out.
It's not good.
No. Alright, well,
Well,
I have to deal with that another time. But that's good to know. I'm gonna fall on my face. That'd be great. Alright, we're just pushing all these things down, and then we'll go ahead and go back and kind of dry some of those edges out. Alright, let's go ahead and wrap this in. And I got a little bit of this started, but there's still a little bit left to wrap in. So I'm chomping this up here. All right. Just make sure everything's down and you're not leaving any moisture underneath the material. All right, we'll go ahead and continue around here. Spray all this down with some tack solution on that edge so that we can wrap it around. All right, that's looking good. Go ahead and come around the corner here and we'll get everything down on this side. Again, we want to make sure that there's tack solution on all the edges that are still not stuck down. And then we'll just continue this top all the way over. We'll do a slide chomp on it. And we'll come down this way. Oh boy, that wheel came off again. Will you please bring me that other chair real quick? Yes. Wow. Thank you. All right, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this around right now and see if we can get that to stay down. So we got a little bit of material bunching up here on this body line around the edge. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull some of this back up, get some more slip solution, or I'm sorry, tack solution under there. And then we will go ahead and wrap this part first, and that'll move the excess further out, and then it should lay down just fine. And I mean, basically you're splitting the excess that was right here, you're splitting it that way, and that'll give it a better odds of just going down instead of putting it all right there, which then it was not gonna stick down. At least not without some heat and stuff, and it's just, you know, it's easier to do it that way than it is to take care of it during in the final steps. It's also less tension on the material now, right there. Okay, terrific. That went down really good. So we're gonna go ahead and go over to the other side and wrap that right now. Go ahead and dry some of these out a little bit. Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and put some more tack solution in this. And then wrap it around. This is a little long right here because I gave it a little bit more extra stretch because I had a little finger right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim this off. All right, that looks better. All right, so again, we'll start at this body line. Still hanging over a little bit, so we'll have to come back and trim that off later. All right, and then we'll work our way up. Dry the edge out so that it starts curing. All right, well, that's the bumper install on this Honda. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on to some other parts. We've got all the edges here wiped down and starting to, you know, they're all wrapped down and dried off, and they're gonna just sit there and cure. All right, well, I might have told a little fib there. We're not done with the bumper. We've got the top part of the bumper right here to do. So let's go ahead and get that on. Oh, you want the whole bumper done? I see. Let's get this wiped down. So it's a little bit hard to tell where this pattern's supposed to line up. It looks like it wraps all the way, so it covers the front and then goes under the bottom of this lip here. And then at that, it's also going to go hang over this edge a bit, which you can just pull the rubber back and tuck it in. So let's go ahead and tack this spot down first because we know that we're going to need that relief cut right there on the corner. All right, and then we'll go stretch back this way. All right, that's actually a decent amount of stretching. There's not a lot of fingers, but it looks like we have to do at least an inch of stretch from this point over. All right, so we're going to stretch back to this point here, and then we're going to readjust out here and make sure that we've got good coverage. All right, tack this part down, and then we're going to go ahead and make sure you've got good coverage and you're not hanging over any of the edges. You know, this shouldn't need any trimming, so if we get it lined up right, we don't have to worry about trimming. And we'll go ahead and stretch to this corner here because we know that that needs to line up. The relief cut there needs to line up. All right, that looks good right there. Let's check this, make sure it's got about the same overhang all the way across. And that'll ensure that we have enough to wrap underneath. Okay, and then we'll stretch back this way. So again, I'm going to kind of hold this in place and stretch as well, but if I just stretch, like, let's move you here and go over this little. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stretch over and into this inch here that's needs to be covered. And I'm also going to hold the material down, because if you just go stretching, you're going to pull the material up into this area. So we'll go ahead, get to that edge, and then we'll make sure that we have coverage around the corner on the bottom. All right, that looks good. All right, and then let's go ahead and wrap this front here on the bottom all the way around. I'm gonna go ahead and chomp this down. That part moves around a lot. All right, and then let's go ahead and do the middle part, and then we'll get around to above the other headlight. Let's see. Make sure we've got tack solution underneath everything here. So I'm going to put the sides down first and then work everything out towards the center. So I'm kind of going back and forth on this, and then each time I'm pushing the film down a little bit further in. So first we went over this edge here, and then we got this flat part, and then I went over the next edge, and then now we're just finishing tucking it on the bottom side of this lip. All right, go ahead and get this part above the headlight. So again, I'm going to start with the edges and then work our way towards the center. Really, it's just this edge. There's nothing that direction to work towards the center from. All right, so let's go ahead and get this full of tack solution. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and wrap this back underneath this rubber here. So I call that a slide chomp. Basically, you put it over the edge all the way down, and then you also kind of push on it, put pressure on the top, and that'll help it fold over the top part. And that will, you know, if you go too straight up and down like this, you're just going to bunch the film up and run over top of it. So something like this, let's see if you can see that real good. Yeah, looks like it. Something like this should push down that whole edge in 1 or 2 swipes. All right, let's put some tack solution underneath the rest of this. Actually, let's put this over here so that we're wrapping at a little bit different angle and different direction into the camera instead this time, instead of away from it. So, there we go. So it looks like there's a little bit of a lip, like a seam in this panel on the top, which is going to end up holding some air in it. I'm not able to get all of the air and water out of there, so it's going to have, that could be an issue probably on a black vehicle where it's going to be silver. I think this one is going to hide just fine, but in a situation where that gets real silver, you'll be able to tell as it dries if it's going to have that issue. And then you might have to trim right here on the top, or just explain that to the customer. They can either have the coverage, or you can cut it off in order to get rid of that silver line across the top. All right, so when I came around this direction, I didn't take it all the way to the corner. And that's because if you do that, you're gonna put some excess material on the corner. So then we're gonna wrap this corner and we're gonna come this direction with it. All right. Okay, so that part's down. All right, well, that's going to be it for this video of the bumper. That's pretty straightforward. So the only thing that's going to be left on this is to go around, check all the edges once it's dry, and we'll basically, I'll install the rest of this full hood package, and then we'll come back and take care of the edges at the end. So we're just gonna come back, we'll double check and make sure everything stayed down on the edges, and then we'll go ahead and heat seal all of the edges with the heat gun and a glove. Terrific, well, I appreciate you taking a look. If you found anything helpful, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.